Now, on this episode, guys, we talk about the 2 new teams that are coming up from J2, okay? We don't have too much extra info for you that you wouldn't be able to gather yourself, but we do have a good week and a look over them, have a good chat, and, just talk about different stories that we might have kind of came across about the teams and whatever as well. Because new teams in the division always kind of freshen it up, and it's, especially with the next episode, what we're going to get into as a result of this, it's just going to be an amazing competition to be involved in this year. Shout out as always to Gamba, Osaka, English blog, David the man himself at Siege the Day 23. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Let's get stuck into it. So the new season ahead, we've got 2 new teams come up. No one got relegated last year, which was quite honourable, I think, and very Japanese, which was lovely to kind of see. The 2 new clubs joining us this year is Tokushima Fortis and Avispa Fukuoka. Yeah, I think I've said that right. Now, we don't really know too much about these guys other than just, their actual fixtures, the way they finished on from last season. Obviously, they were top of J2, so on the face of it, they're impressive, of course. But it doesn't really tell you much in terms of how they look to adapt to J1 this year. Especially with there being more games. We've now got 20 teams, so that means this season is now going to be 38 matches rather than last season it was only 34. David, do you know much about the new guys in town?
I've had a look through their squads. I don't propose to be an expert. I'm sure there's plenty more in the community that do know the players' ins and outs. As you said quite rightly there's 4 of these teams are going to go down this season, so you've got to expect these 2 will be fighting relegation, along with maybe, I don't know, possibly sort of Shonan Belmar and Vijalto and the likes of those 2 top teams. So they're going to do well to punch above their weight. They've got some players in there, but it's just whether they hit the ground running or not.
Both teams averaged just basically over 42 games. Wow, what a season that must have been. 67 goals scored, 33 conceded for the team that won the league, that was Vortis. The team that finished second, Avispa, 51 goals scored, 29 conceded. So if they can keep that defence anywhere near...
From what I know, the Vortis played the more of attracting football of the 2, so they had Ricardo Rodriguez in charge, and they seem to be, of the 2 candidates that have come up, they seem to be the ones that might sort of have a go at it more.
They're the most capable, for sure. So... in terms of the fixtures we've got, they come back to us on the 26th and the 27th of February. The time of recording this is like the 3rd of February or something like that. So a couple of weeks away yet. As you're watching this, it's probably on the very cusp of coming back, okay? But we've got some tasty fixtures in the opening week. Straight away, Kawasaki against Yokohama. We were talking earlier about Yokohama wanting to challenge up the top end of the table and really going for it. And what a better way to start, first game of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a Friday night game, isn't it?
It looks to be out 26th. Yeah, that must be the Friday.
Unless they change the rules, I'm not sure that's going to be on the SoRare game week, because it will be.
Oh, because it's at 10 in the morning. Oh, they were chatting about it in the AMA, so I think they're going to make some changes to make sure that these games don't slip through the net. I don't think there's any.
They're going to have to. Yeah, they're going to have to, because I think this is a thing that they're going to do this season. Is the Friday night game? Don't quote me on that, but
yeah, that'd be interesting.
Different times. So. Well, that's 2 huge chunks of players out for the first game week, otherwise, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be. You're not wrong there. Anything else jumps out at me? Kashima at home, Shimizu. Shimizu did quite poor last year. Shonen at home, that jumps out to me because I've got my boy Tani. But where are
Shimizu S-Pulse, what they did, their problem last season was they conceded far too many goals. By far the most in the league. So that's what they've got to do. They've got to plug that hole for next season.
What that's exactly what put me off. They've got a young goalkeeper. Is it? I want to say Togo Umeda.
Yeah, Togo Umeda's actually gone out on loan. They've loaned him out to a J2 team. They've signed some new guy called Shuichi Gonda.
Cool.
I don't know anything about him, but he's apparently supposed to be going in between the sticks as the number 1. So he's a card that a lot of people are looking out for next season.
No, definitely sounds promising. So that's what put me off buying him. I didn't actually know he'd went on loan to J2. I didn't buy him anyway, but it was just seeing the amount of goals the team was shipping. Is like, yeah, could be a wee young goalkeeper that might get 10 games a season, but if he's going to concede 40 goals while he's in,
well, to be fair, Togo Umeda started last season. The start of the season, he started really well, and he was a fantastic shot stopper. And then he just disappeared. Like Akubo started, and it was just like, well, okay, what are you doing? And then now he's been loaned out, so they obviously see him for the future, but not for the immediate. Shimizu S-Pole, so I don't think they'll be in trouble for relegation problems. I think they'll float around mid-table. They've got too many sort of attacking players. Nishizawa,
Nishizawa, my
on the
man.
platform, is an elite card because of his young 23-year-old.
Yep.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So I think they'll be alright. They won't be down with the four. I predict the four to be, Vortis, Vispa Furuka. I mean, Shonan Belmar. If you look at their squad, they've got nowhere near enough depth and of talent in that squad. Obviously, they've got your boy Tani between the sticks, but
The miracle maker.
There's to be honest, and Kosei Tani going out on loan there is a good thing for the SoRare card, isn't it? He's going to have a lot of traffic sent his way. But I expect them to struggle. The two new squads, going back to those for a minute, Vortis and Vispa, they have signed some players, so it's not. I mean, Vispa have got Bruno Mendes up front, who was signed from Cerezo Osaka, Brazilian.
Cool.
He's a good signing. Daiki Waitari, they've signed him, so they have brought in recruits. It's just whether they can stop it at the other end.
There's a little European contingent in this team. I see 3 Spanish players, and a wee Belgian guy, and a Swede. So they've got they've potentially got a wee bit about them. If they're coming up with. And I know it might sound a wee bit kind of snobby in football terms, but Europeans in these kind of, let's just say, rural territories, they do go there because they're the better players in the setup. So
they do.
If they've
Funny enough, though, when I first came on SoRare, I did say to myself, I said, for signing players, I would only concentrate on Japanese players because they're the ones that seem to stick around. And in the off season, that's proved to be, quite the case. Yeah,
no, that's a great counter argument to that as well. Of course, at least you're going to get reliability out of the homegrown starters. 100%. So I was just kind of thinking, maybe that little clutch, they've kind of played together last year. They won their promotion. Maybe some of these guys. They maybe kick on this year. Who knows? But that's interesting to see.
There's a player at Tokushima Vortis that you have to look out for next season. He's called Joel Chima Fujita.
Okay.
They signed him from Tokyo Verde, and if do it either now or when you get off this video, put him on your following list because he is a real talent. He's a little kid, midfielder. Controls the game, passing. When you go and watch his videos, he's got it.
I'll do it now. How do you spell his name?
Joel Chima Fujita.
Fujita. Fujimi. Fujita. Sorry, Fujita.
Yeah. JC Fujita. Joel Chima Fujita. And anyone who wants to go and do some research on him, he's highly, highly, highly regarded as one of the next big sort of talents of Japanese football. He was at Tokyo Verde.
I found a 33 Fujita. Fujita.
Fujita, yeah. Joel Chima Fujita. But he might not even be on the SoRare platform yet.
Oh, Joel Fujita. He's just Joel.
Yeah.
18 years old. No followers. I'm number 1.
Yeah.
How many will that get before the IPOs?
I promise you, when you get off this video, go and watch one of those horrible hype videos on YouTube. But he really is got talent.
Heard it here first, guys. Heard it here first with the man David. Right, okay.